All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, July 24th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free. If you do want to fade me, all that down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we made out last night, not the best. We had a few things just not bounce our way. Now, I'm not an excuse guy. Usually, like I tell you, I chalk it up to my stupidity when we get things wrong. There's a few of these first five unders or even some of our plays that just right at the last second went kaput. So I don't know what to really make of that. I think we end up dropping just about a half unit. And the unfortunate thing is we had a play that I actually took myself. Didn't throw it into the final plays yesterday just because I missed it. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to. So can't count that one. It was Taglia's unders there, which we talked about in the video, but can't even count that towards a win yesterday. Unfortunately, the ride of the day was right on track with us. Dropping the womp womp here on my man James. Had a parlay Houston and the Rangers Suarez over 5.5 Ks. That does not come through. If you're watching this and you're like, what the heck is the ride of the day? All you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. We keep the tracker here as well. You can see James, make this clear, because you're no longer leading there, but you did hit that plus 200 in day number one, so we can't be too mad at James here. But get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. And all right, what do you say we go ahead and dive into today's slate? Appreciate everyone here, especially if you are watching live. Really do appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll take a few breaks, throughout the show and talk to the chat and whatnot. I think we've been getting a little bit better at the format here in terms of how we can stay on track and discuss things with you guys. But let's give it another spin, right? Let's dive into game number one here. We have Miami taking on San Diego. On the mound for Miami is going to be Yuri Perez. He's going up against Randy Vasquez. Now, both of these guys have shown flashes of really good baseball this season, right? In fact, Perez is pitching or has been pitching incredibly well over his last couple starts. Vasquez, fairly consistent. I feel like he gets a really bad rap. To me, the only thing that I would look at here, and I don't even know if it's something that I absolutely, love or want to play. I did take the player prop that you're about to see, so that's already a final play. Got to make sure to put it on the final play so we can take credit for it. But I think the Padres for the price is the only thing that I'd look at. Now, I think there's a lot of advantages that this Miami squad has. I get it. I even think Perez at home might be an advantage, right? Their offense is definitely better. The bullpen, not so much, but I don't know how much I want to trust Miami at nearly minus 140. So that's what it comes down to. I also think both these pitchers could be pretty damn good through the first, part of the lineup. So I like the idea of the first three under. And then Eric Wagaman is also going to be a player prop that I like. And like I said, this is already one that I've already locked in. I believe we got it at minus 130 or minus 135. But I like his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. First off, he hasn't been playing all that well. Second, against righties, he's batting just 224. WRC plus drops to 663. Vasquez against right-handed bats, which is what Wagaman is. Right-handed bats, 211 average off him. A WOBA of 270, so pretty damn good. And then he's going to see the cutter, the fastball, and the sinker as his main pitches, right? Even you can throw the slider in there, but the cutter and the sinker, two of the top three, he does not hit very well. So he's bad against the hand that Vasquez has. He hasn't been turning in the right direction, and the pitch mix seems like it could work out there. So yeah, I like those three plays. I probably would say they're in reverse order if you look at that bottom to top. I like the player prop, already locked it in. I don't mind that first three, but the Padres for plus money is kind of what I'd consider overall, just due to that price. Now let's move on to the next one. We got a decent pitching matchup here, right? We got the Pirates taking on the Tigers. It's a decent pitching matchup solely because of Paul Skeens. Jack Flaherty has been okay at times, right? He's definitely blown up at times as well. We used to be a big Jack Flaherty, fan here, and he just kind of stopped coming through for us, so obviously I'm biased, but he's been pretty consistent. Is it Paul Skeens level? No, and for that reason, I'm out on the Tigers, looking at Pittsburgh. Much like Miami, though, I don't know if I love that price tag, but you are getting Skeens at pretty damn good price. I also look at the under, though, right? Because there's one thing we know about Flaherty. He's going to stick to that fastball. He's going to throw fastball. He'll go to the slider. Both those pitches, Pittsburgh absolutely stinks at. So I like the first 3 and the first 5, depending on what you can get, because this thing's already pretty juiced through the moon. I think we saw -165 for the first 3, which is why I included it, because first 500, you're probably looking at a 3.5 or a 4, which may be a little too low here. But my thought process is Detroit, the better offense. Skeen should be able to pitch okay against them. Even though they're crushing fastballs, which is Skeen's main pitch, I still think that he can handle them, right? And then Jack Flaherty on the other side of things throws a fastball and a slider. He has that nut curve too, but bottom 10 in all of those. Fastball number 30 is where the Pirates rank right now, and then 27th for the slider. So I think that, the Pirates could struggle here offensively, which is why I'm kind of correlating an under to the potential of the Pirates. But you could also take them as 2 different things in a sense for 2 different reasons. Pirates at that price with Paul Skeens, can't necessarily go wrong unless they put up 0 runs, which they are capable of. But also that under kind of goes along with both, right? It's like if Skeen pitches a good game, I think that gives the Pirates the better chance to win, and we have a pretty damn low scoring game just in general there, right? Grexo in the chat saying Paul Skeens over 6 Ks. Yeah, I mean, this is a Detroit team that has been striking out a lot too. So if you guys like Skeen strikeouts today, this might be a good team to take a peek at overall. But they've also been walking a decent amount, which means, they're swinging, but they're kind of being disciplined at what they're swinging at. But yeah, they have been striking out a decent amount. So keep that in mind as well, especially if you do like a Skeen strikeout today. All right, next up, we got Cleveland taking on Baltimore. I think have gone back and forth on this one, so my leans are pretty simple. You have Tanner Bybee on the bump. He's going up against Tomoyuki Saganu. I don't love either pitcher, but Bybee has been okay at home, right? So for that reason, I guess I'll back the Guards. But yet again, like, this price is kind of like makes you want to bite a piece of cement. Like, Guardians not been batting all that well. I mean, they've looked okay the last series, but still not an offense we can fully trust in the long haul, right? At -130, -140, like, seems a little tough. But I will say, neither one of these bullpens are in the best of situations, right? You also have Sugano, who just really has struggled against both lefties and righties. He's not striking guys out. He's pitching to contact. Guys are getting on. So this could be a spot in which Cleveland does play okay. I like the over because even though Bybee is obviously, like I said, has been good at home, his numbers against Baltimore over his career aren't all that fantastic. I think his most recent start against them was pretty damn bad as well. So, yeah, I could kind of see this one being like, okay, well, not that we really want to get all over it. I could totally see it being a meh type of a spot for both pitchers, which is not exactly what you'd want to see, right? All right, guys, let's get to the chat a little bit here. Is the quality audio, everything okay on your guys' end? Because just want to make sure before we kind of move on and whatnot. But yeah, it was this is a weird slate. I'm going through it this morning. It's like there's spots that I like and very, very tough to find spots that I absolutely loved today. But let's give some shout outs to people here in the chat. We got Russell, we got Jalen, we got Mr. Bean, we got Key, Aaron, Mr. Cookie, we got J Dub, we got Drew, Ralph, we have Fernando, T-Moss is long time no see. What up, T-Moss? We got Mishi, we got Gorilla Trap in the chat. Shout out to you, an absolute OG of the channel. MVY, Joe, Grexo, we already shouted out. Just Ty. Shout out to you guys in the chat here live and early too. Just FYI, if you guys don't know how this works, we have kind of taken the approach now to do some more live content. So this video is obviously our normal MLB Picks video, but we're going live with these. We'll be posting a condensed version as the normal video afterwards as its own video. But these videos, these lives, I should say, will also live on, as its own video there on the channel too, if you do want to catch that. So, just in case, you guys are not aware, let's see. Fernando says, get some W's in the chat. Let's drop some W's in the chat. But guys, make sure to hit that like button as well. If someone's putting W in the chat and you haven't hit the like button, come on now. But yeah, let's get some W's down in the chat. Let's jump back into these games, right? Really do appreciate everyone being here live on a Monday morning. But all right, let's dive back into it. Moving on to Washington taking on Cincinnati. I've kind of teetered on this one, right? I have. What I will say, though, is I've made up my mind, and there's a chance this is a final play. I don't know if it's a psycho play, but it could be, what we're looking at here. So let me get this thing up on the screen to you guys to see it. I do like the Nats today. And the thing in why I say like, oh, it could be a final play, it's because of a few different reasons. So I'll sound the cycle alert alarm. Maybe that is the case. Brady Singer's going to throw that slider sinker combo. Those are two pitches that this Washington team actually is hitting over the last 30 days. So that's great. You know what I mean? Like, that's very good. Throw in the fact that Brady Singer has not been all that fantastic on the road by any means, and Jake Irvin's actually had some better numbers at home, and that curveball could be a really good pitch. There's only a few guys in this lineup that are going to hit the curveball well, so I think Irvin could pitch okay. I'm not going crazy here. We sounded the cycle alert alarm. I get that this could be crazy, but I think that he could pitch okay, and the Nats may be able to get to Singer a little bit, right? And throw in the fact that both bullpens are kind of in rough situations, whether guys have pitched 2 of the last 3 days or something like that. That's kind of why I like the over, because obviously you are still sitting here being like, well, this is, a Cincinnati team that, though they have their highs and lows, or if this is one of those games where they go and put up a big number, right? So I get it. If someone's like, I don't know about that, but for the price, for the plus money, and for those little nuggets that we're able to find via the pitchers, I think Jake Irvin is in a better spot than Brady Singer today. And, kind of back in that Nats offense. So yeah, I don't mind it. I guess it's worth the psycho alert alarm, because anytime you're backing a team like the Nats, putting your hard-earned bread on them could be a little dicey, right? All right, let's get to this one. I have a few spots. Haven't taken anything in this one yet. But honestly, I don't even know what to do from a money line perspective, because this Phillies squad, like that price, it's Zach Wheeler on the mound. So let's call a spade a spade. It's Zach Wheeler. That's why that price is there, right? That being said, it's still a crazy price against a Red Sox team that can kind of get hot against anybody. Do I think they hit up Zach Wheeler? No, but I don't like that price. So all I would really like here is maybe a potential look at the Phillies team total over. Walker Buehler's on the bump. Not exactly a big Walker Buehler guy. I don't know if you've seen me talk about him in our shorts or on our shows before, but Walker Buehler stinks. His parents named him perfectly because he walks every single batter. Walker, get it? So I don't want to back the Red Sox any way, shape, or form, but that price I don't like on Philadelphia, right? So what do? All right, let's beat around the bush and figure it out. We can maybe get to a Phillies team total over. We have decent weather in Citizens Bank Park. I think it's going to be like mid to low to mid 80s. There is wind blowing in, I get it, but I still think that they can kind of get a few off here. So in terms of what we get from a price, let's see if I can get that live line up right now. In terms of what we can even get from a price here, over 4.5 or minus 120, it's probably what I'd look at. I don't mind the idea of Bregman. Let's jump into the Bregman play. Let's walk through Outlier, and I can kind of walk you guys through like why I came upon that one. But first, let me put Outlier in the chat for anyone that does want to jump in and try it out. You get a 7-day free trial with that link I just put in the chat. There'll also be one in the description if you find that to be a little bit easier here. But all right, let's jump over to the Outlier screen. Bregman, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So yesterday, all right, has a very good game, hits a home run, right? But we like this one because it is obviously Zach Wheeler. He's 1 for 6 against him. He's batting worse against right-handed pitchers. That's what Zach Wheeler is. WRC plus drops as well. But here we go. The fastball, Bregman doesn't hit the fastball all that well. The sinker, okay, he hits it. But then the slider, he also doesn't hit it well compared to the rest of his pitching, to the rest of the pitches that he'll see. Zach Wheeler likes to throw the ball down and inside the righties. And this is the sinker, the one that he hits well, right? Look at where Bregman likes to hit it. If you hang a sinker, he'll hit it pretty damn well. You can even look at the fastballs. Similar situation, right? Wheeler likes to go high. Bregman likes it low. So a lot of a pitch mix and heat map approach here in terms of why we might like Bregman and the under. Like I said, I haven't rolled with anything in this game yet, so we shall see if it's something that we end up wanting to, throw down on. But this is like an end-around way of backing Zach Wheeler, I guess. My concern would be, okay, well, what if we get to the bullpen and all of a sudden it's like, well, now you don't know if you're getting the righties, right? And Philly's bullpen hasn't been all that great, and they are a little taxed. I could see Bregman doing something there, right? So that's why these are probably staying as leans for now, but just FYI, I guess that is what we're liking, right? I feel like that makes a little bit of sense. Look at all the W's in the chat. Shout out Aaron, Samuel, Abesha. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but hopefully I am. We got James, DJ, a bunch of W's in the chat. Dari, Fernando obviously started that thing up. Appreciate everyone here live, guys. If you are live, make sure to get some of your plays and whatnot in the comments. We're not going to be able to get to every single one as we go through this slate, but again, we'll take some breaks, talk to the chat after a few games, every now and then also at the end, if you want to stick around, we'll answer questions and stuff like that as well. But really do appreciate everyone in the live chat right now. All right, let's move on to this series, which is going to be absolutely awesome. These teams are talking smack. They're battling it out for the top of the division. You got to absolutely love it right now. In fact, I want to see the standings. I don't have off the top of my head. I probably should know that. I think the Yankees are 2.5, 3 games back of Toronto. Massive, massive series here, okay? Today we have Gausman on the bump going up against Carlos Rodon. I do hate to say it, but this team's, they got off the DMB graveyard. Now they've been helping us out. I do think that we lean Yankees slightly today. For a couple different reasons, and if there's a couple different reasons, then great, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. But you have Rodon, who's a lefty. Toronto's been struggling against lefties. Via our dashboard, you could see it here, right? Not exactly the best offense. We know they're filthy, so, we can't sit here and be like, oh, well, they're going to stink. They're a really good offense, and when I say struggling, it's compared to how good they've been overall. Then you have Gausman on the other side, who just really hasn't been all that fantastic against the Yankees in general. I mean, his last start was probably one of his better ones in a while, right? And that was 2 earned through 5 innings and 5 hits, only 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. But in his career, in terms of his numbers against this current lineup, so this is not against the Yankees, it's against the guys that make up the squad, right? 200 plate appearances, 218 plate appearances against. That's really good. A 30% walk K rate, that's really good as well. But now the numbers get a little dicey. 14.2% walk rate, no bueno. An expected WOBA of 374, no bueno. An expected slugging of 497, not very good. Expected batting average 258, you know what I mean? Like, they're hitting him decently too. So to me, this comes down to Gausman versus Rodon, and I do think both offenses are going to be able to get to the bullpens. A lot of action in these bullpens the last few days since the All-Star break. That's why we like the over. But to me, the Yankees are just in a better offensive situation in a sense, okay? So yeah, if you're on Toronto today, I don't really want to talk you off it, especially if you're getting plus value behind them. But for me, it's the Yankees, man. As much as it pains me to say that and that they're going to gain on Toronto, as a Red Sox fan, I'm watching being like, guys, don't run up ahead. Let us Red Sox kind of stay in it, right? But to me, it's Rodon versus Gausman puts a big damper on anything that I like Toronto. So that's kind of just where we're at right now. All right, we got the Mets taking on the Angels. Already took a player prop in this one, so we might as well just jump into that. I do have a few different spots that I am considering. The player prop, again, being our favorite one, and we already locked it in. So right now, we do have Kodai Senga over in walks. That's the only one I have in right now. I also like Pete Alonso's under hits, runs, and RBIs. I don't mind the under in this game, though, and I have an Angels question mark there because I don't really know if I want to get to Angels overall, but I think it's enough for me to stay away from the Mets here. But plus 170 for the Angels seems like it could be okay, right? Their offense isn't all that great. In general, it's been really good, on the road in a sense, but it's not all that great. But to me, this Mets offense against lefties is even worse, right? Now, Tyler Anderson's a lefty. He's going to throw the fastball cutter as his 2 main pitches. I think the Mets will time him up. I get it. But just to start the game, I don't think they're going to go crazy, so I like the under. But Senga, has a walk rate on the road this year of 11%. Against lefties, there's not many in this lineup. It's really, really bad. Against righties, it's right around 8%. But this is an Angels team, which is crazy to find this nugget. Shout out to our dashboard. Against righties in the last 30 days and just overall the last 30 days and at home, number 1 team in terms of drawing walks. How freaking crazy is that? You know what I mean? So, yeah. We see Eric in the chat saying, safe play to take the over on that Yankees in Toronto. Yeah, I get it. I mean, you do have 2 really good offenses still. But yeah, this Senga play, I feel like we found a little bit of something, and it's like, how can we miss that, right? This is an Angels team that has walked more than any. They have the highest walk rate in the last 30 days. Come on now, right? And Senga has been walking guys. He's not been as all in control, right? So to me, it's a decent spot there. I like the under again because I think that, the Angels might have a chance, and I think that the lower scorers, they stay in it. Pete Alonso is pretty much a lefty-righty split play for me there. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. We have Joey Smoke saying Brandon Nimmo over 0.5 hits and Zach Neto over 0.5 hits. Don't necessarily hate that. Don't hate that. All right, yeah, let's take a break and talk to chat a little bit here as well. Because I am curious to see what you guys are rolling with there. Looks like Joey Smokes has a bunch of player props today. Yeah, a bunch of them, huh? Joey Smokes, you must be a hits guy. That's part of your process, right? Finding guys to get 1 hit. Action Jackson saying, nah, man, give me the Yanks. Yeah, I mean, that's where we might be as well, right? Can we talk about Scoop killing it last night? I mean, Scoop just kills it every night, right? What did he have, like 12 strikeouts, though? It's just a different animal. Malik says, everybody thank Guy for getting up this early to assist in you guys' decisions. Hey, you don't have to thank me. I just appreciate everyone tuning in. If you do want to thank, I guess you can smash that like button. That might be the play there, right? But no thanks necessary. I thank you guys for tuning in, right? Kevin, we haven't really looked into home runs, but if anyone has any home run plays, drop them in the chat. Help Kevin out here, because I just never have had luck with home run props. You know what I mean? I love when guys shove on Sunday Night Baseball, because it actually is a decent product to watch. It has nowhere close like Sunday Night Football or even some of these national NBA games, right? Like, doesn't have the same zhuzh, but I think it could when you have two hosses on the mound, which we almost got Evaldi and Skeens. Evaldi and Scooble, right? I already say we jump back into these games here. That sound good? Jumping into Atlanta taking on San Fran. Man, I think we're a little wonky with some of our plays today, because I don't mind the idea of the Giants in this spot. Now, I don't think that I'm getting to either the Giants or the over, which is what you're about to see on your screen. There's just not enough there that I'm like, oh man, this is definitely something that I'm all over. But the reason that I could, and I think that that's important to note, because just, being able to say, yeah, you could do it, will talk you off of a heavy favorite like Atlanta, because this is going to be a fastball and slider thrower that we're going to see out of Hayden Birdsong, right? Atlanta just 23rd against the fastball, the slider dead last, so that slider could be pretty good for him today. We're going to get the slider out of Bryce Elder, but then also the sinker. The slider should be really good, but throw in the fact that the sinker, this Giants team, number 3 in the last 30 days in terms of runs above average against the sinker per 100 pitches thrown. They might have a chance here. I like the over, even though we have two decent bullpens here, because either one of these, you could close your eyes, spin around, and throw a dart, and you got a chance of either one of these starters getting shelled, okay? Bryce Elder, not all that great. Birdsong, not all that great either. Struggles against, lefties. There's a couple power hitting lefties, I guess you could say, in that lineup. And then, the switch hitters being lefties today. So that's why I like the over. There's definitely case to be made for runs in that game. Even though the offenses aren't all that tremendous, I think that we could see a consistent scoring through 9 innings, in a sense. You know what I mean? All right, the next one, I think that this Rays, it's hard to get off the Rays here. Now, I will say that, that's kind of too crazy of a price to take alone. So if you do like the Rays, you're probably like me in considering them in some sort of a parlay piece, right? That's realistically the only thing that you might be able to get to. That first 5 under, though, I could see Sean Burke pitching okay, at the start of this game. Reason being for that, he's going to throw, a decent amount of curves, which is a pitch of his that he likes to use. He's got to get ahead in counts to use it, which could be important here, and that could fare okay. So I'm hoping he just holds his own, and I do like Sean Burke. But I do think Shane Baz can go out there and pitch really well against the Chicago squad. He's going to throw the fastball, obviously. They don't hit the fastball. He's really, good against lefties. A couple lefties in the lineup, not that many, but he should be in a good spot against either one of these squads. But again, the Rays already priced out for me. I don't think that this is something that we actually get to either one of these plays. Probably staying as a lean. I'm just telling you guys that in advance, so it's not like sometimes people can't see how confident I am just by talking about it, right? Like, we talk about every single game because I like talking about sports. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna love every single game, Malik says, time to jump off the White Sox train. Don't fall for it. Yeah, I mean, the White Sox are the White Sox. We know who those guys are, right? Like, even though they played well in their last series. All right, we got Texas taking on the Athletics here on the mound for the Rangers. It's going to be Leiter going up against Jacob Lopez. I ping-ponged in this one, guys, in terms of the side that I like. So just keep that in mind here if you are thinking that I'm all over the side that I'm on. But it ultimately came down to I was making enough reasonings to potentially like the A's that I said, hey, for that price, that's probably the spot that we look at. Now, I like the under because neither one of these offenses, to me, should be all that impressive here. You have the fastball slider from Lopez, and he's a lefty. That should be a recipe for success for him against the Rangers. You have lighter fastball slider. For him, I do think that this A's team can they're number 9 against the fastball last 30 days and number 1 against the slider. So if Leiter doesn't pitch all that well, then yikes. Even if you get to the bullpen, and this Texas bullpen is far better than the Athletics bullpen, right? They should be able to get some runs off him because that bullpen's super, super taxed. So, either you're pitching a guy that is not one of your better arms, or I guess I should say they just pitched recently. But again, I like the under because I don't necessarily think that, even though I say Athletics can hit the slider, hit the fastball, still not really an offense that I absolutely love. And I think that Lopez could hold his own here. So this one, under 8.5 is what it's at. If this thing moves to 8 or something like that, probably not in on it, because I could also see this being a heartbreaker of being like a 4-4 game, 3-4 or 4-3 heading into the 9th. Someone ties it up, and it's like, well, there goes the under, right? Because we had a 4-4 game. I also like just Ezekiel Duran and Shea Langier's their unders, hits, runs, and RBIs because of the matchups here against the pitch mix that they're going to be seeing. Langier, we played yesterday, came through for us. I don't know if we get too greedy or roll with it again today, but that is what we're liking as of right now. Dina says, good morning, Ev, at work. Let's go. Yeah, where are you guys listening from? You at the office? You at home? You in a different state? Anything like that? Let me know. That's kind of the idea of us wanting to do these early. I mean, we started at 8:30 today. I wouldn't consider that early, but hopefully some people are able to, throw it on in the car, in the commute, or if you're on the train or something, or if you're just in the office, sneak a little AirPod in. No one's knowing the difference. You know what I mean? I like the idea of being live here slightly early, and then obviously the earlier we do it helps my work day as well, because then I can go and edit because I edit this video into our normal condensed video. So yeah, but all right, let's move on. We got the Cubbies taking on the Royals. Xavier, we didn't need to know that. But I did ask, you just answered. Cubs taking on the Royals. Tough one here, because I do think that, the Royals have a lot of advantages in this game. I do. I think that they have the starting pitching advantage. The Cubs bullpen's, kind of taxed in a sense. Overall, right? They pitched a decent amount of guys yesterday and in the series against the Sox, whereas this Kansas City team might be a little bit more rested, but to me, it's going to come down to the offense. Yes, Chris Flexen, I think Brazier's starting, and then Flexen's going to be the primary. Noah Cameron is on the mound for the KC, and shout out to GoFies for just subscribing. But Cameron is obviously the better pitcher. I do like him. This Cubs team's a little bit worse against lefties. I get all that, but I do think that if we look at this and kind of just take a bigger zoomed out approach, you still have a Royals offense that just is trash, right? And what we're going to get out of Chris Flexen, the primary starter here, is fastball cutter as his main pitches. 26th and 30th is where this Kansas City team ranks, you know what I mean, in terms of those pitches. So I think Flexen can hold his own, even though he's not the better pitcher in this matchup. But the offense isn't even close, right? And we do have wind blowing in at Wrigley. That's kind of why I like the under, because I think that this Cubs team can get on base and win a small ball game a little bit more than what we're seeing from, a Royals team. So definitely like the Cubs today, but the under, that's kind of where I give some of these advantages to the Royals. I think Noah Cameron can pitch okay, just not, okay enough to prevent his team from, if I think the Cubs are going to be able to ding around, 3, 4, 5 runs today. I don't know if the Royals we could trust, especially in the weather, to do that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it comes down to. All right, next up, we have the Rockies taking on St. Louis. We already placed this player prop, which I do like. We got plus 110 for it. I think you can still get that number actually out there, but we'll start right there. It's going to be Pedro Paez, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Why don't we dive into the outlier screen? If you guys missed it, there's an outlier link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment, guys. If you do want to go ahead and check it out, you get 7 days free with that link. But you can see it here, right? Pedro Paez, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. All right, he's been okay lately, but this is what I like. Batting just 192 against lefties. He's going up against Austin Gomber, 51 WRC+. That's great. Gomber's numbers are terrible, but they do get slightly better against right-handed bats. From a pitch mix perspective, the fastball, his WOBA drops down to 211. The curve drops down to 247. The slider, which he only throws 16% of the time, is the first pitch you have to get to out of his pitch mix that he hits well. The changeup right back at you, really, really bad. Even that slider, look, he likes to throw it, up in the zone. Yes, he'll try and ding this spot, which he throws a ton. That could get us in trouble because Paez looks like if it does hang in the the zone, he could hit it well. But again, we're talking about only 16.6% of the time he's going to see that pitch. So I like the idea for the plus money. You can see the odds there. Yeah, it looks like it's moving towards plus 100, but definitely don't mind that spot. In terms of an under 11, well, simply put, this St. Louis team stinks against lefties. Gomber stinks, but he is a lefty. We'll throw that in there. And then McGreevy on the other side of things, it's like, I don't know if I have to even necessarily worry about him. He is pitching against Colorado, and I don't care about the altitude. You still have to hit the damn ball for it to matter. So, yeah, I do like the idea of an under in this spot. I don't think either offense is trending in the right direction. And I love the fact that we saw, yesterday, well, 2 games before that, we saw 6 and 10 runs out of Colorado. And then it's like, okay, let's get right back down to business, right? They scored 1 run yesterday. Now, Joe Ryan pitched, so that's a little bit different, but McGreevy hasn't been terrible. The thing that I do worry about him is that he does throw the slider, which is a pitch that can really get affected in cores, but this is not a Colorado team that's hitting it all that well. So, yeah, I'm looking at that under, and then the Rockies, just because St. Louis can't hit lefties, so at the price that they're at right now, not so enthralling for me, you know what I mean? Like, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's take a second to get to some of the chat here. A community break. I like how we can term it that. Derry's saying at work, researching and listening. By the way, I said Xavier. I said, where are you guys watching from? He goes, on the toilet. Got a couple Bostons in the chat watching at work. Omzi says, which pick are you most confident on? Those types of questions, it's like, it's at the end of the, like, I don't like answering that because it's just misleading, right? We like all these plays in a vacuum for different reasons, and the goal is to hopefully you get more right than you get wrong. I think when someone's like, oh, my most confident, like, yeah, maybe it would come down to the biggest unit play that you have, but even that, it could just be the odds base. So I would say that, baseball especially is more of a quantity sometimes over quality. You kind of spray the board and hope that you're hitting at that range you want to. So Omzi, I don't really have an answer for that. I don't like the misleading by being like, this is my most confident. I have 4 plays. I give you one of them that's my most confident. Everyone loves that. And then that's the one that loses. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, well, it was my most confident, but what does that matter? Josh is in LA traffic. That's got to be rough. Hopefully I'm making it a little bit easier, I guess, just talking about sports. Takes our minds off it for a little bit, right? Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. A lot more people in here than have liked the video. I think it's like 3 times the amount as much if my numbers are up to date here. Lex says, good morning, gang. Yeah, a lot of people at work. All right, hey, don't let your bosses know. Sam says, when's Tassos coming back? I believe he gets back pretty damn soon. I don't know. What a good guy I am, right? Hey, you want like a 1,000,000-week vacation? Do your thing, Tassos. No, he deserves that stuff. He puts in the absolute work. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into some of these games. We got 3 left now. Let's go ahead and do so. Looking at Seattle taking on Milwaukee. This is one where I even have it noted to say this because I feel this very, very strongly. You can make an argument for either side here. So I want to say that. I want to get it out there really, really quickly. Slick says, looking cute today. Thank you very much. But what I end up leaning towards is probably a Mariners spot. I think either way, I would like the idea of a low-scoring game, right? So Mariners and the under is what we're considering as of right now. The reason I say you can go either way is because Woodruff has been okay, right? That's who's pitching for Milwaukee. George Kirby has definitely had his ups and downs. There are some lefties in this lineup. George Kirby has not been good against lefties so far this season, but I don't necessarily think that the fact that we have this total all the way down at 7, I think it's telling. Do you know what I mean? So I like the idea of Kirby pitching fairly well. This is a Milwaukee team that gets on base a lot, draws a lot of walks. George Kirby is one of the best in history at not walking guys, and I think he hasn't been that fantastic since coming back this year, but I think that could be a good spot for him to, kind of battle and take away somewhat of a superpower from this Milwaukee squad. So it's Mariners for me. I had a tough time with the price, and like I said, I don't mind anybody that's sitting there being like, all right, I like the idea of Milwaukee. I'm not trying to talk anyone off of that. We've seen a couple starts now out of Woodruff. He's looked good. It was Miami, it was Washington, so we'll throw that in there. But again, in a low-scoring game, I don't necessarily think Seattle's going to like get to him. This was a tough one, though, so I wanted to make it clear that, yeah, if anybody wants to back Milwaukee and you're like, oh, well, Ev said he likes the Mariners, I'm not trying to talk anyone off of Milwaukee today. I also will say they just swept the Dodgers. Like, maybe they come out in a flat spot or something like that, This next one, you guys will probably be surprised because we have Zach Gallen on the mound, and I'm actually looking at the other side. Look at that. Can we get some crowd noise pumped in for some personal growth that I'm not just blindly fading Zach Gallen, who's probably lost us $1 million this season? I like Houston. Gallen's going to hum fastball. We know that. He's actually been a little bit better on the road than he has at home. Right now, you're not going to find a better team that's smacking the fastball around than Houston. It's going to be tough to find, especially on the road. Number 1 in average WRC plus, on-base percentage, OPS, ISO, and slugging against righties on the road. Obviously, some of that's skewed, but I do like the spot. You're going to see fastballs out of Colton Gordon, who's on the other side of things, so I think Arizona could probably get some hits as well. And, this is a good Houston bullpen, but they're fairly taxed. So the later this game gets, they're going to have some decisions to make. Gordon, I don't think, is going to be all that fantastic either, so that's why I like the over. I do think Arizona can for sure compete in this game, especially the later the game goes. I think the more runs could come in, right? Because that Arizona bullpen just isn't good in the first place. They do have most of their guys. I think only like DeSclafani pitched yesterday, so they're good to go there. But even with a healthy bullpen, don't necessarily love it because of all those injuries they have too, right? So I think Houston gets to Gallen enough to get them kind of an early lead, and also throw in the fact that you do have, just because of the pitching name here, and I can admit this even though I'm a Zach Gallen guy, Houston at plus 130 seems a little crazy, right? Couldn't find any player props. I really wanted to kind of isolate some Houston players. I see in the chat Joey saying Gallen over and hits allowed. I could see that, right? His hits line right now, let's see if we can find it via Outlier. So his hits right now are at 5.5 for plus money. He's definitely been doing that. Let's see. 2025 home games, been getting shelled a little bit. So, yeah, I don't necessarily mind it, even if you look at his pitches here. Fastball, you could see they strike out less, hit the ball well. The curve they could struggle with, but 47.8% of the time we're going to get the fastball from Gallen. That means every other pitch, in a sense, right? We're going to see a lot of that. So, to me, knowing that he's going to throw that many fastballs, Houston should be able to hit him, I guess. All right, let's move on to the last game of the slate here. And not sure if I want to kind of stretch to get here, but you do have the Dodgers, who are coming off of that series against Milwaukee, against the Mets' David Festa. Now, on the mound, I believe Shohei is pitching, and then we're going to get Dustin May, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of want to confirm those pitchers, obviously, before doing anything. But I do think that this is a spot in which I sit here and say, all right, how can we get to the Dodgers? It sure as hell isn't at minus 200. Maybe them -1. That's probably still super, super juiced. Maybe we just say Dodgers go score, right? David Festa stinks out loud. Should be one of the better offenses in the league. Right now, you can get Dodgers over 4.5 for plus money. It was -115. So near even odds, right? Almost like pick'em price. I shouldn't even say near even odds. It's near pick'em price, okay? But 5 runs from this Dodgers squad against Festa should be all right. On the season, they've done in 55% of games. At home, 60% of games. At home against righties, 62% of games. So I can't see David Festa going out there being like, all right, let me shut down this Dodgers lineup. Now, because I'm so confident in that, and I keep saying it, it's probably going to happen, right? But even still, Minnesota, they threw Duran and Jax yesterday. They'd be good to go if they need to today, but I'm thinking that the Dodgers kind of go out there and score some runs. Mr. Bean and I are probably on, he likes Minnesota money line and then the under 9. Actually, we didn't even, why is the Houston thing still up there? That was glitching behind. Dodgers team total over. We don't have the slide. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. All is well in the state of the Ev household here. Dodgers team total over. That was up there for far too long. But to me, it's again, Dodgers, they got to bounce back at some point, right? Like they do. But all right, let's get to some of the chat, guys. Drop your plays in the comments. We'll talk about a few of them. Drop any questions or anything like that in the comments. Very, very excited to hear some of you guys out today because, like I said, it's a little bit weird of a slate. I keep pandering for the likes, so we don't get them, but let's see if we can run up those likes. I think we're at 68 right now, which is great. Love the fact that 68 of you hit the like button. Can we bump that thing up? Can we get to 80 or 85, something like that? Hit it for good luck. It just helps the channel, helps the video. So it's like, I get that, I'm pandering for the likes, but calling a spade at least. Jacob just got here. Well, we just finished up Jacob. I'm sure Jacob has some, because this Jacob, I was saying this is a weird spot for me today, and I like what you just threw in the chat. Houston team total over. We like Houston. We also like, kind of fading Gallen today, which is tough because I freaking love Gallen. Joey says over 3.5 Ks for Shohei. Until we like, I just feel like we just don't know constantly what we're gonna get out of Shohei in terms of innings, you know. So that worries me, I guess, a little bit. To take an over on him, you know what I mean? Mike Yaz and Aaron Judge over hits, runs, and RBIs parlay. Okay. Don't necessarily hate that spot, right? So Malaki, it's this, like, this live stream, I end up editing, cutting up, and turning more into the video. So less of, like, obviously the getting to the chat and stuff like that. So it's not made, but technically I guess it is, because we're making it as we speak. Miami money, yeah. I mean, hey, if people disagree with me, you guys always know I do think that this is a spot in which you're probably in the right? Like, fade me. One of us will be right. Jacob says, sounds crazy. Twins coming out of Coors. If Ohtani goes 3, I'd take Minnesota team total under point. If so, yeah, he's coming out of Coors. I get that. I like Dodgers team total might be something that we just look at. And again, Ohtani, like, to me, it's like, no shit, he's like a really, really good pitcher. Like, we forget how good, like, that's why Ohtani became such a god, because he was so good at both, right? But right now, I just question how many innings we're going to get out of him in a sense. I guess, if that makes sense. Because even the latest that we saw, I think it was last night and the night before, it said that May's going to come out of the bullpen. There's going to be pitching tandem of Shohei and potentially Harris, something like that, right? So, you know, if you're getting that, then I don't know. They did use a lot of their bullpen arms yesterday, so they might want Ohtani to kind of get going. Malaki. I don't know if Malaki. I don't know. I can't even pronounce my own name half the time. Malachi. It's definitely Malachi, isn't it? I read it back one more time. I'm like, Ev, you probably could have got that. Malaki, though. You might be sticking at Malaki. But Joey, I don't mean to say all that to talk you off of Ohtani strikeouts, by the way. Like, he's probably going to go a few innings overall. But let's run through. I'll just kind of read off because I do have them noted next to me. We don't have the slide outs, but in that Padres-Miami game, I do think that, you know, that Wagaman under I like in the first 3 innings. I think pitchers could be good throughout the first 3 innings. I would say Padres just because of the price. I think Miami has a lot of advantages here, but that price I don't agree with. Pirates in the first 3 or first 5 under, if you can get any consumable number there, would be what I look at. Guardians in the over would be what I look at for Cleveland and Baltimore. Next up, I like the Nats. I'd like the over in that game as well. And these are just quick. I'm kind of running through, guys, FYI. Then we get to the Philly and Boston game. Philly team total over. I could see them getting to Walker Buehler. Alex Bregman under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Yankees versus Toronto, which I think is going to be some of the best game. Like, that's going to be an awesome series. High tensions, everything. I do like the Yankees / the first 5 for them and the over. I think both teams eventually will kind of break down the barriers. Comes down to this next one, which is probably where we're being a little crazy. LA and the Mets. I like the Angels. Don't mind the under. Pete Alonso's under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and Senga over in walks. Giants in the over in that Atlanta and San Fran game. Then in terms of Tampa Bay and the White Sox, I like the Rays, but some sort of a parlay piece, something like that, right? And the first 5 under. We get to the A's and Texas game. Jacob Lopez hopefully can hold his own, because I do think that this Athletics offense could hit those pitches well that we're going to see from Texas, but not enough to make it a high-scoring game. Athletics in the under, but I like Duran and Langier unders as well. Cubs and the under 8.5. Honestly, Cubs money line, maybe even like a KC first 5 team total or full game team total could be something that we get behind as well. In that Colorado and St. Louis game that we just talked about, Pages, I've already locked in his under. I think that was the plus money one. I like the under in that game, and I also kind of sneaky like the Rockies. Cardinals stink versus lefties. That was kind of the reason. In terms of that Milwaukee-Seattle game, I said you can go either way, but I like a low-scoring game. I'm on the Mariners, though, in terms of my lean. And then the next one was Arizona and Houston. Houston and the over, and then Dodgers team total for that last game. So that was a quick little run-through of what we have. Jacob said he got good closing line value on the A's. What'd you get them at? First three under 3.5 in the Pirate. If you can get first three under 3.5 in that Pirates game, I don't necessarily mind it, Milwaukee. But I don't know if you can get that number anymore. Jacob, looks like we might be agreeing on a decent amount today then, huh? So if Shohei goes 3, right? That's what the word on the street is. Then yeah, over 3.5 strikeouts, I could see that. I could see that. But, all right, guys, really do appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll probably stay live for another couple minutes here as we get some of your plays, but did just want to let you know that I'm having a blast doing the live streams. You guys seem to like it as well when we're live in the chat and kind of interacting, so really do appreciate it, and appreciate everyone, hitting the like button, subscribing, the donations that we get, and everything like that. Like, it means the world to me, so really do appreciate that. I wanted to at least say that while I was thinking it before we close up shop, and, I forget to say that, so really do appreciate everyone that has tuned in and everything like that. And we're willing to, I got the comments. I think I said yesterday, I was like, hey, let me know what you guys think, because it's a lot of work to do both the live and the regular video. And people are like, oh, you're complaining about doing that. It's like, I'm just saying it's a lot of work. So I like the feedback and letting you guys know like where we're at, right? I'm down to do the work. I love doing what I do, but I just kind of wanted to make that clear, right? I didn't mean to come off yesterday or whatever it was, the day before, being like, oh, it's a lot of work to do this. It's like, yeah, anyone can say it's a lot of work to do their job. You know what I mean? Stances, do the Dodgers win? I mean, they're minus 200 odds would say so. I like their team total over. I do. I think they can score today. But they burned us yesterday, man. They did. They burned us. My nose is itchy as hell today. At least I'm not eating a banana on stream, right? Mr. Bean says, any advice? Every slip always loses by 1 game, bro. What am I doing wrong? I think that question answers itself. Straight plays are the way to go if you really do want to do it even somewhat seriously. Parlays, I don't think will ever be the answers unless you have some sort of edge or correlated edge or anything like that. And if that's the case, you probably don't want to share with a lot of people because you don't want that thing blowing up. So I would say if you could either, if you guys are tied to parlays, you love them, make smaller parlays, make a little bit better, in terms of like taking alternate lines and whatnot. But if you're just there for the excitement and whatnot, then sure. I guess the big payout on a little upfront is really good. But I think the advice, Mr. Bean, would be to kind of focus more on straight plays. You know what I mean? Like for me, we have anywhere and I take a lot of I've been loving the MLB lately, so I'll freaking scatter the board with like 8 to 10 plays some days. Imagine if I was parlaying those, that's just definitely not coming through. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's if you think you can get some sort of an edge in each game. When I mean edge, even if you think you have an inkling that your price that you kind of build doesn't match the market price, then that seems like it's a little bit of an advantage, right? If you're beating the closing line, there's your little bit of an advantage. In a parlay, you could have an advantage in one game, it's still gambling at some point, right? So even if you think you have an advantage and you put 2 teams together in a parlay, one of them doesn't come through. It doesn't matter if you had a great edge or a great look in the other one. I'm not saying parlays don't do. People love parlays. Parlays are really fun. You're having drinks with your buddies at the bar or something. You're like, let's throw in a parlay, right? I totally get it. But that's just like advice. Like I do parlays from time to time, obviously, right? It's fun. But I think it's worth noting that they're fun, and there's nothing wrong with that too. Because I tell you guys all the time, sports betting and fun go hand in hand for me as well, right? I'm not good enough to be one of these people that it's like it's all about the value or something like that. I have some of those habits, which is good, but overall it's still like if someone just likes parlays for fun, then hell yeah. But you got to know that you're doing it for fun. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a little bit of a rant about that. Hopefully that kind of comes through. Jacob says parlays are negative EV bets automatically. Yeah, I mean, I think you can get, and especially on some of these like alternate sites and sweepstakes and whatnot, you can find some plus EV parlays. But when you think about it, again, the way that I would even phrase it is like if you do have, say you have a 3% edge and a 2% edge in terms of value, even if one of those doesn't hit, it really does not matter what your other value was, right? Because a parlay is, at the end of the day, even if you are getting good value in terms of it, you're still just rolling the dice that both have to happen. Tigers won't score. Okay, against Skeens. Astros and Diamondbacks nerfy. I mean, I like the over in that game. I think that Gallen could get hit. A nerfy might be the only way that I play any under in that game, though, so I guess that makes sense. Jacob says, I mean, you can. It's challenging. Yeah, I don't think that that would ever be worth it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's almost like parlays could be a losing up proposition. Even if you got all the value in the world and figured it out, like, you're not. And I'm sure people that are throwing in those big old parlays, they ain't caring about, oh, are each one of these a positive EV play? Because that's the only way to technically do it. But then even still, you, in my opinion, kill some of that by tying them at the wrist. Or at the hip, whatever that saying is. Malik says, just be very selective and straight bet. Yesterday I took Toronto and Arizona singles so I could parlay, but just like to win and just bet heavy on one, the best, and it'll feel like a parlay. That's true, right? You can go, even if you take them single, yeah, if you parlay them, would have been a bigger payout, but then you went 2-0, right? Oh, Tigers won't score in the first inning. Okay. Gotcha, Zach. Yeah, I mean, Skeen's on the bump. Don't necessarily hate that. But guys, I'm going to close up shop for the day. Really do appreciate everyone that tuned in. I think we got close to 100 likes on the live show. But if you are interested in watching this back, this will be posted as its own show. And then I'm also going to go back and cut up and keep it, concise. And we'll take out some of the chat spots for the normal video. So real appreciate everyone, guys. Let's get some W's in the chat. Appreciate the hell out of you guys tuning in live early on a Monday morning. Let's start the week off right, all right? Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.